We're doing Parshas Chukas here, Dr. Eli Bennett's birthday Parsha, and we're recording this in the midst of the ongoing war between Eretz Yisrael and Iran, Yamach Shemam, and specifically today when I'm recording is the day after the massive bombing that America did to Iran, which we're all very, very tzufriden, and we are grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to have a karas hatoiv to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for such a nace. So in that context, with so many nisim and neflois going on, this Dvar Torah will be all the more relevant. In Parshas Chukas, which is the Parsha of the Parah Aduma, the Parsha of Tumah and Tahara, a famous pasuk, Zos HaTorah, Adam Kiyomus Ba'ohel, Kol Haba El HaOhel, Kol Asher Ba'ohel, Yitmor Shivas Yomim. The many divrei Torah talking about the fact that a person who's learning Torah has to immerse himself to the point he's willing to die for it. He's learning Torah, so if you'd be willing to be Yomas Ba'ohel to learn Torah. However, Torah written by a very chashuv yid, whose name is Wolf Zuckerman, a man who lives in Borough Park. This sefer, by the way, was printed in Tufshin Ayin Tes, this being Tufshin Pei Hey, that was 6 years ago. So it's fairly new. Rav Olbaum praises this sefer highly, as well as anyone who's come in contact with it. Has a completely different take, as we always know. There are Shivim Lashonos. Every single dot in the Torah has multiple Perushim. He brings out from the sefer Maharil. You've heard of the Maharil. If when you're looking at Mishnah Brura, you'll see the Maharil being quoted many times, as Rabbi Olbaum has pointed out to us, as a posek for the Doiros, for all generations. So the Maharil writes a halacha which we don't interestingly follow, but it's a halacha worth repeating, and he says, the Lashon of the Maharil, Pa'am achas, once upon a time, a Sar Gadol, a Goyish minister or prince, happened to be the son of the Duke of Heidelberg, who happened to be a big Ohev Yisrael, passed away. And a member of the Tzibur, of the Kehillah, said, Tsar li al misaso. It pains me, his misa pains me. So the Rav told him, and the Maharil is quoting this, even if it be a Yehudi kosher and a Talmid Chacham Gadol, you should not say that phrase. Why? Because look as if you are having a taina against the Midas Hadin. Preferably one should say, Yesh hezek gadol b'misosai. We have lost a tremendous loss. There's been a tremendous loss in his passing. However, the Yavitz, quoting on this Sefer Maharil, is choylek on him, kriegs on him, and he says he forgot a plain pasuk pasuk. Tzali alacha achi Yehonasan. When David HaMelech heard Nebuch ben Yehonasan, his beloved childhood friend, had died in the war against the Plishtim, he said, Tzali alacha achi Yehonasan. Not only that, it's brought down when the Noib Yehuda was being maspid, Rav Yonasan Eibeshitz, he said, Tzali alecha achi Yehonasan. So there is something to talk about in terms of using this particular phrase. If it pains you enough, according to these Perushim and Paiskim, the phrase is not totally to be ignored or avoided. However, mentioning this discussion, he brings down a fascinating sidebar which is relevant to us. And he says that my father, Avi Meiri, the father of the author of this Sefer, used to say all the time, quoting from the words of Masechta Avos, Asara nisim nasu l'avoseinu b'veis hamikdash. One of them was, Omar Adam l'chaveiroi, Sarli hamakom she'olim Yerushalayim. No one ever said, it's difficult for me, it's painful for me that I would sleep over in Yerushalayim. What does that mean? What is the import of these fairly simple words that he does not say? A person never ever said, Tsar li hamakom. And he says here a fabulous pshat. When there was Ashroz Hashchina, when the Beis Midrash was standing, a person could see b'chush every single part of our Olam Hazeh, every single part of our existence. We saw the Chazdei HaBoirei in every single action, in every single matter, in every single molecule that he saw. Even in difficult times, you were able to still see the good kite. They were able to see the good in whatever is happening to us. And you can say, Baruch Hashem, HaTov HaMeitiv, at all times. As the Pasuk says in Eicha, Mipi Elyon Leiseitze Harois. From HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is never anything is bad. Specifically, when the Beis Midrash was Kayim, and Klal Yisrael were able to see this as they were living in Eretz Yisrael and in Yerushalayim, they had the schus to see that all that happens to us, every single thing, kol davar, is only toiv and chesed. So therefore, a person never says, Sali HaMakom, which means, who is Makom? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never ever causes a sar, Hashem, who is called Makom Shel Makom, so that therefore no one ever said, Sali HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He only said, Kamad Ovid Rachmana L'tav Ovid. Every single thing that Hashem does is for the good. I saw the following story, which I'm about to relate to you today. It was brought down to me by Sarla Idels, my daughter, and I want to share it with you because it is exactly filling in this story and how central Torah is to us. The story goes as follows. In the supermarket down the block from my house, a kollel man was standing in line with a shopping cart overflowing with groceries, easily worth 1,500 shekels or more. Behind him, in line, stood a high-ranking IDF officer. IDF is Israel Defense Forces, Tzahal. That sight, an army officer and a kollel man standing side by side, is not unusual in our neighborhood, which is the home of the IDF Central Command and several Iron Dome installations. Out of the blue, the officer turned to the kollel man and said, I'd like to pay for all your groceries. The kollel man, taken aback, asked, why would you want to do that? The officer's answer was nothing short of astonishing. I was recently overseeing the deployment of the Iron Dome in Ukraine, he explained. Once everything was set up, I came back to Israel. I was told that the success rate there was around 50%. Nothing close to what we see here. In Israel, the Iron Dome intercepts over 95% of incoming rockets. I had to understand why. So I was sent back to Ukraine to investigate. He paused. There was no technical explanation. The equipment was the same. The system was the same, but it just wasn't performing the same. Then looking the kollel man in the eyes, he continued, and that's when it hit me. The difference isn't just in the technology. There's something else at play here. One of the reasons the Iron Dome works so well in Israel is because of the spiritual protection, the Torah learning, the tefillos, the schuyos of people. So I wanted to thank you in my own way for your role in helping to protect Am Yisrael. That's what it means, Adam Kiyomis Ba'ohel. If a person is willing to put in his maximum koiches into Limud HaTorah, Maaseh Mitzvahs, all of the midos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu instills in us, that will be our greatest protection, our greatest schus. And in the schus of all of these mitzvahs, may Klal Yisrael be safe, have a grace of Yeshua. May each and every member of all of Klal Yisrael, and my family as well, included in there, be safe and be sound. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should extend His hand over all of us. That's the real Iron Dome. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Yad HaGedoyla. Good Shabbos.
That was beautiful.
Bobby is saying in the back, that was beautiful, Leslie. She's my biggest fan.